it's time. What's going on there, YouTube? This is SCL0320 representing JVS. So I'm back here for another album review. I haven't done one of these since, shoot, was it Andy Mineo's Uncomfortable or was it NF's Mansion? I think it was NF's Mansion. By the way, NF's got an album that's coming out really soon, but this is all about Lecrae, you guys. Like, if any of you guys seen some of my older videos, I was rocking that Rehab shirt for a minute. I've loved Lecrae ever since then. But I remember back in the day, like After the Music Stops, Rebel, Rehab, and those were classic, filtered, epicness of a great merger of the hip-hop genre with grounded and foundational gospel-led songs and tracks. I'm even listening to it right now. And I'm talking about his brand new album, All Things Work Together. And the album is masterful on so many different levels. But I'll tell you why. Because when I was listening to the singles, like out of sequence, it was like some of the sequels, it was like, I was like, okay, this Tori Kelly song, this is really dope. Okay, this other song, Broke, is really dope. But then these other songs with other filtered artists, I was like, I don't know if this fits the mold. What is Lecrae really trying to do? What he's trying to convey? I've heard him say, I don't want to be considered as a Christian hip-hop artist. I want to be considered a hip-hop artist that is a Christian. And I understand that balance based on the way the functionality of this album works. Progressionally, you go from the very beginning, letting you know where he actually is, to the progression of what is the meat and the foundation of who Lecrae is right now. And that progression is very masterful, in my personal opinion. To be quite honest with you, this album, to me, is one of his best since Rehab. I want to say it's best since Rebel, but I've only listened to the track, the whole entire album, like twice. And Rebel, I was going through that, like, on sequence. Like, there were so many different things about Rebel. I was just like, it helped me get through the progression of everything. But there's certain tracks in this one, like there's one, and you can see the reaction right here, that literally moved me to tears. Others that just have me like going like this. And what I'm going to do for this one is I'm going to go through and dissect each one of the tracks in a specific kind of way through the notes that I actually have. I've got notes on each track. And then I'm going to give you guys like my final concluding thoughts. And then I'm going to give you my score number for this album based on not just lyrics, but also how the flow and progression of the actual album actually works, as well as what is the content, what is it actually really making me feel. So hopefully y'all enjoy my notes and like my dissection of each track, and maybe it can give you an idea or perspective whether or not you should get the album. I definitely already can say I highly recommend it. If you haven't listened to the album yet, maybe you should go and listen to it and then go with it with me, because I'm going to be pushing through each track while I'm actually doing this. So let's go ahead and get it started up first. First track is called Always Knew. So this track, to me, I thought it was a really great beat and a really good introductional lyrical track. The chorus goes through shine a light on me, shine a light on me. And we're supposed to be the light, you know what I'm saying? Like, we're supposed to go out into the hedges and highways and preach the gospel, but we're supposed to go also burn with the light of God. And a lot of times, progressionally, you go through life and you just feel like that light is gone. And so to me, it felt like it was like him going through a testimony and confirm like how thankful he is to be where he's at. He was talking about even like people introducing him to certain artists and like how he's gotten to this place. And it's just really like him understanding like he needs the Lord continue to shine his light on him. Because initially I kind of was like, that's really like, really? Shine a light on you so you can be broadcast to everybody? No, it's a little bit more than that. It's the depth of what's going on with him. Because he even talks about like how even through when he was growing up, like he was going off of like really poor means. And so now it's like he's trying to get his education, he's paying his tax, he's doing everything he needs to do, but it doesn't make life any easier, So he's still going through, so he needs the light of the Lord still progress to him. And that goes with the facets of the rest of his relationships as well. So that was that track. As far as the flow, I think it flowed really well. It wasn't anything special as far as the opening, but I understand the content and the grand scheme of the album. But let's go into the next track. Next track is called Facts. This track, I thought it had a great flow, but the beat was kind of like a go get 'em like beat. I was just like, oh, let's go. I think it was like chorus like I will only tell the truth. But I think that the way that this sounds, this is something that I would pull directly out of like the Rebel album. Like as far as like intensity, as far as lyrics, like it felt like old school Lecrae. And I know that sounds really weird, but Anomaly, it was kind of like it was a great album, but felt so different. I think honestly, ever since Rehab and the sequel to Rehab, I really hadn't felt like that same exact intensity from Lecrae. Like even like the Church Clothes, like it was like, man, that same intensity, but then the content was kind of like, what are you trying to say? This one's a perfect merge with that example with this album, with this track specifically. The other thing about this, the way he's actually spitting the bars, I can literally imagine him like getting into the microphone and actually rapping this. Like I can actually picture it as he's doing it. Like I can feel the intensity as the way he's doing it. Whereas normally, like, you can kind of like hear somebody kind of like just doing the lyrics like this. Like, nah, he is in it. He's in the booth going hard with it. The other thing about this track is I wanted this to be my favorite track, but it wasn't, because there's this weird transition that happens as far as the beat, and it kind of lets go from the actual track. The lyrics though are really strong towards the end, because like it's talking about something real and tangible, but it's like when it shifted with the track and the beat, I was just like, I didn't like that. I didn't like the background shift as far as the music is concerned, but the content was still really dope. So let's go to the next song. Next song is named Broke. It's weird because you know how like you got one of them songs that's like just catchy because it repeats the chorus and there's some good bars in between, but it's like a report. Like that's what this one is. Like being broke made me rich. I was just like, I don't know if I want to claim that over here. Like I was legit was kind of like, I don't understand what you mean by this, but I understand now. Just kind of listen to some of the bars. I heard the chorus more than anything. But he's talking about basically how when he was growing up, like he ain't never had certain situational things happen, but at the same time, he knows what it means to kind of go through the cut and act as though like everything's normal, but really don't have any money coming in and out, and like people are trying to help provide for him, but then it's like it's not the same thing. But at the same time, he understands what the value is for being able to save. Like he understands what it means to be in that place. So now he knows what it means to really truly be able to have and be able to save. And I don't think it's him being pretentious that he's rich. It's just catchy. It's kind of like what was that track Vendetta with Andy Mineo when he was talking about, I know Pac did a lot more for me than Barack. Salute! But I don't agree to that. You know what I'm saying? Even though like Pac is a great artist, like I don't think I think it's more so the catch and understanding of what he's saying for him. I can't necessarily accept this for me. But the track was actually really dope. I actually really loved the financial progression and the challenges that he was exerting through the bars that he was talking about in this specific track. But let's go to the next one. Blessings. This is track number 4, featuring Ty Dolla $ign. I was kind of like, this song is dope, but I was kind of like, why is Ty Dolla $ign in this? But the lyrics that Ty Dolla $ign is actually going with, it actually makes sense to the progression of this. And I don't know if Lecrae is doing the chorus for this or not, but it's so catchy. Like I was like, this is so dope. Let me try to read what it actually says. If you ever took a loss, I never take a lesson. I thought that was the most interesting thing. Like, you never actually lose, then how do you understand the progression of things when you actually do succeed? In other words, it takes failure to build success on so many different levels. But at the same time, the lesson through progression that allow you to be able to make success. But this track is really smooth. This is probably one of the smoothest tracks. And the lyrics don't feel really forced or anything like that. The way the progression of the beat with his bars is actually masterful. I actually wrote an interesting note about this one. I said that his acknowledgement of like his relationships and his responsibilities as a man, it progressed through the way that he was lyrically talking about the bars in this one that he's committed to doing. Those are responsibilities that he knows for a fact he has a mandate to live up to as a man, not even just a man of God, but as a man. And then at the same time, to make sure you count your blessings that you're in that kind of position to do this. What was the other thing I wrote about that? When you're dealing with even like going as an artist, like you need to make sure you have like safeguards like keeping you in check. That if you don't, like something, the enemy could use that as a way of coming at you. And I'm trying to make this as fast as I possibly can, but I wrote a lot of notes for this. But without going through the songs all over again, I wanted to go ahead and give you as best I can with it. So either way, I thought this track was actually really good. This is definitely the smoothest track that I've heard out of the first 4. But this next one is track number 5, What You Mean, featuring I Gazili. This got a Dirty South kind of vibe to it. But the auto-tune surprisingly worked. But again, I don't know if this was one of the ones that was on the singles that came out early. I was just kind of like, what is this album going to be? You know what I'm saying? Like, I heard like, you know, Broke that came out. That was the last thing that came out. And then I heard this one before it. And I was kind of like, what are they going with this one? But, I think that this is the first progressional song that kind of was really like this interesting pitch of truth and nakedness. But oh my gosh, it gets so much deeper later on. And I'll talk about that in a second. But this is a banger. Like, this is definitely a song that you could be rocking to. You be in the car like, yeah, that's this kind of track. Lyrics go hard. It's an interesting short story. That's one of the things about Lecrae. Like, some people seen him on Sway, sing the 5 Fingers of Death, like how he did that so eloquently. Him and Andy, of course. But Lecrae is a really good storyteller when he actually goes hard with it. When he slows down and actually talks, he's a good storyteller, and this is a good track of evidence of that. It doesn't feel like a chorus repeat to me like the other one did, unfortunately. But let's go to the next one, which to me, this track is lit, and I'm talking about number 6, Hammer Time. This is featuring who? I think it's 1K Fu. 1K Fu, I think that's his name. Hammer Time, Hammer Time. That's how it goes. Like, and like if you put this on like some speakers, or if you have like a heavy bass in the back of your car, you're gonna be like rocking out to this. I don't even know if you guys are gonna be listening to the lyrics, but you're gonna be like up, up, up. And this is definitely the hype bass song of the album. There's another one that goes there, but this one is actually really interesting. But I think it could be considered a hit or miss. Just because some people might not be wanting a bass song. They might be wanting content and like a lyrical progression, you know? But I think that old heads like me, they're going to be like, oh, yeah, woo. So, I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be a hit or miss for certain people, but it feels like pure hip-hop to me. Like, that's what it feels like. It feels really full. The flow feels progressional. It feels grounded. Again, got this Dirty South feel to it. But it's just the catchiest song of the album to me. Like, it's so catchy. But it's telling a really dope story as well. If you listen for it, those new people that want content and levity of access of lyrics, then you're gonna actually really get something really good out of it. And it progresses as throughout the rest of the track actually goes. But let's go to the next song. Come and Get Me. This is track number 7. I don't know about this one because the beat just sounds so eerie. Like, I think they're using like some little, what's those things called? I don't know what they're called, but it could be piano keys. But then it just goes into this dope bass. And then like, I was like, oh, okay, let's go there. You know, he's talking about his progress as a man. From a lyrical standpoint, this felt like indwelling sins. Like, not that he's going back and forth like him being, you know, the devil and him being himself in flesh. But no, like, this really felt like a real conversation and coming at us, telling us like how he's progressed as a man, educated as a Christian. And I really appreciate this album, or not this album, but this track. It was just really eerie in the very beginning. But he's talking about like how you know, his mom kind of progressed him certain things, him trying to get his education, him trying to pursue his Christian career, and then trying to be an artist, and those being two different things. And I thought it was really good. There was one thing that he said, if you ever wanted me, come and get me. That's the chorus, but the track lyric is, I've been a mascot for too long. And I was like, what you mean by that? What are you trying to say? But from a lyrical standpoint, I progress and understand, like, okay, he's felt like he is the Christian mascot and facilitator of what this really looks like as a genre, versus like him progressing as an artist to show what he really wants to push out. What has God put in his heart to showing everybody? And he talks about his relationship with God and what God has showed him, what God has given him, and what has actually been happening as far as the actual system, as far as the progression of him as an artist. But the bars in this are really heavy. The guitar actually works. And I think the last lyric that I actually really heard was, I was made in his image, not what you perceive to be his image. And I was just like, that's actually really dope. So this is probably one of my favorite songs that kind of came out of nowhere, because it's like I had this weird beginning and I didn't really like, but it ended up into something really real. Track number 8, yo, I want to make sure I'm really clear with this one because I don't want to get it wrong, but I don't know about the kid in this, but it's definitely evident of how naked Lecrae has allowed himself to be in this album, because he legit was talking about like this relationship that he was in, and how not that he, man, how do I put this? I guess he loved the girl, he was committed to the relationship, met the parents, got all the way to the altar, and then just couldn't do it. And it's like he's talking about how he know how he affect this woman, how it made her recede into herself. Now she's got a kid on her own, doesn't have a relationship, so she's a single mom. I don't know if that's necessarily his, but at the same time, he's taking responsibility for what he did to her on the inside. And I never heard like him be that bold in a track at all. And I was like, this is when I knew this album was something special, for him to be able to be this naked and this bold as an artist. So the chorus goes, keep it 1 million, be a real one. And I think that makes so much sense based on the lyrics and him basically saying he's acknowledgement of his failure to her. Not even so much his failure as a man of God, but just period to her. And I was like, dang. I'm not sure who's the person that's singing the chorus. They're doing a really good job with it, and it's actually a really dope track. The next one is number 9, Wish You the Best. This is featured with Verse Simmons. This is a really odd beat and a style. I don't know. I think that, wait, hold up. Let me rephrase that. This one is the track, number 9 is the track, Wish You the Best is the one that's about that. So hold on, let me rephrase back. The Locked Up one is actually about him talking about like his relationship with his wife and his child, and talking about functionally what he needs to do, how thankful he is of them, and what they do for him to be able to keep him grounded. And that's what that one, that was him being like locked up in the sense of him being grateful and blessed that he has that. And so the other one, Wish You the Best, is the one that was talking about this other woman. And I apologize for that, because like those two I got mixed up as far as my notes are concerned. But this one was talking about I wish you the best, knowing I gave you the worst. And to me, that was what I was trying to say with the last one. This is the most shocking naked track he'd ever had. The one before this one is him being open about his relationship with where he's at now. This one's talking about where he was. There was another lyric that said, I know I'm the reason you stopped believing in love. And dang, I was like, what? I don't know if this is talking about like this is somebody that he had a child with. I don't think it is. I think it's just he's as a child at this point she's a single mom. But I don't really know. But to me, this is the most boldest track that Lecrae has ever made. The other one was really good, but it wasn't as bold as this one. So I think that he really took an interesting take on this that I never would have thought he would have done. The next one is Can't Stop Me Now. That's number 10. This has got like a reggae beat. It's a great featured artist in this one. They actually doing a really good job. I think it's actually I don't know. It just says Destination. I don't think that's the featured artist though. It's dealing with reality. It's dealing with depression. I think this is maybe a 3-minute song. But it talks about so much in terms of content that he's actually gone through. Rehabilitation, oppression, depression, and not being able to deal in general. Like, to me, this is his testimonial as an artist. Testimony about being a dad, testimony about struggles before and after Christ. And I think lyrically, this is where the album starts to change. Like, after he finishes talking about the girl in track 9, the rest of the album goes and platforms into something totally different. And the next song, of course, everybody's heard, which is I'll Find You with Charlie Kelly. This is one of the best gospel tracks, period. Like, I already loved Tori Kelly from the track she released, Hollow. I was like, that is a worship song. And I was like, when is she going to mix up with somebody like Lecrae? I know when she did that, like, they had already been friends or whatever. And so I was just really glad they added her. And the girl can flat out sing. And like, this one is the one that to me helps me get through. Like, when I've messed up, when I've sinned, and I know I need God's help, like, this is the song that I would be listening to revolve something inside of my soul, and knowing that God's got me, that it'll be okay, that God's always following me. He's always looking. A lot of people can take it as like, all right, you got a guy or a girl that's kind of always following, got your back. You can take it that way, but that's not what this is about to me. And it's evident, even listening to the rest of the tracks throughout the album, that this is about, you know, God finding us where we are and an acknowledgement of that. Just hold on and I'll find you. Man, love it. Track number 12, which is 828. This one is a really dope worship song as well. It edifies my spirit. And this piano just kind of goes through it. Like, okay, I got this one dude, his name is Denzel. Denzel is an amazing worship artist, and I would love for him to sing the chorus of this, or even try to attempt to do the track at all. And shout out to you, Denzel, for that. But I think the backdrop with the beats is actually a really cool progression through like a worship song that is missing, honestly. Like, you can always have really great contemporary worship and great gospel, like Ty Tribbett and Kirk Franklin do a really good job of that. But this one felt like one of those ones that's like, this is something totally different. This is kind of like a cross-pollination of the contemporary and the gospel, and making it something evident within like the confines of hip-hop genre as well. Keep your eyes on the prize, keep your eyes to the skies. Like that one, I was listening to this one actually with wifey last night, and we were just sitting there worshiping, enjoying each other to it. But Lecrae is definitely talking about the Lord. He's talking about God, like, directly. So if anybody was worried about whether or not he's talking about or not talking about like God or his relationship with God or his, you know, elevation as a Christian, this song will definitely give you evidence of that in every way. And also it's a reality conversation based on the lyrics of this one. That's actually really good. So, track number 13, Cry For You. Oh, man. Taylor Hill messed me up. I don't know if this man got any more albums, but I might buy them, because I was sitting there listening to this joint, and you can see, like, the reaction right here. And, like, it got to a certain point where Lecrae just started to talk to me. It wasn't even felt like he was rapping to me. He was just sitting there talking to me, like, about how we're sitting there crying for God in the midst of our struggle, in the midst of our flesh, where everybody in their position thinks that we're good, we're perfect, we're this or that, and we're just dead inside. And like, there was this one lyric, there's like a thorn, this only thing left of my flesh, because you don't know how a person's receding into themselves because you think that they're okay, and really they need somebody to hold them accountable, to push into them. And so all that person can do, if they have a relationship with God, that is cry out to the Lord. And that's me, bro. Like, I was sitting there reacting to that, and I was just like feeling it, man. And he started talking about, like, not only like his feeling the depression, oppression, like he was talking about thoughts of suicide, man. I was just like, oh man, this is what this is all about. This track alone kept me like, this album is masterful. Like, this right here put it in for me personally. Like, it messed me up. Beautiful track, so deep, so visceral, and it's the most honest track of this album, even more so than what was that other track that I was just talking about? Even more so than number 9, Wish You the Best. Like, this one, when you think the track is over, it stops to a slow, and then you hear the chorus again, and then Lecrae just still continues going, and it's just like, if you really absorb it, and if it's your testimony, it'll mess you up like it did me. That's all I gotta say about that. And then the last track, if you thought this was gonna be another banger, it is, but it's still worshiping God's. I was just like, you go, Lecrae. And the name of this one is Worth It, featuring Carrie Shears and Jawan Harris. This to me is just an acknowledgement of God's greatness and His goodness. Do you worry God is here? That's where it starts off with the lyric, but it is clarification, even through like just the lyrics of both of these amazing artists, that no matter what you're going through, no matter what's going on progressionally, like, God is here, like He's got you, and it's worth it to continue to fight this fight. Beats are sharp. The ending of the song is probably one of the best endings of a track that Lecrae's done in the past 3 albums. Like, the ending for this track was this beautiful ending to the entire progression of this. If it wouldn't have been like this, I don't know if it'd work. And also, based on the 2 artists and they're going back and forth, it felt like a Mary mixture of Fred Hammond. Like, I don't know if you kind of get that or not, but like, just the way the epicness of the worship of this, and the bars of this, like, the choir vocals on point, 2 artists were on point. Lecrae was going in and really giving us something of meat, something to hold on to. And I think it left like the best feeling on my face, like, after everything was over and done with. And so let's go ahead into the finishing of this. Again, that last track, it had also a random preacher talking about, like, He gives us greater peace in the midst. And it was just a great ending. But it was slow and it ended perfectly. But the album was that as well. Like, every single track is conditionally different and progressive. Like, it's not like, okay, you start from track 1 and it tells the same story of track 2. No, like, there are different ways and different beats and different mashes up of the style of the genre of hip-hop, but at the same exact time, like, the lyrics and the content would make this, to me, one of the best albums that Lecrae's made since Rehab. I can't say Rebel just yet, because Rebel is it. That is the best album that Lecrae has ever made. This is definitely a second to me, and people might disagree with me. That's fine, but looking at how the man has progressed through the entire stage, like being as naked as he was with some of those tracks, with Cry For Me, the other one talking about like the relationship that he did have with this other woman, with Wish You the Best, even like tracks like Broke, like, I mean, that was just him being open and naked. But then you got these heavy hitters, these bangers, in like Blessings, Hammer Time, Come and Get Me. Like, those are bangers. Like, those are, it's like it's even trade and even distribution, but it's not like it distorts the progression of the album, because the album starts off a certain way and then it progresses into something else, but it never loses momentum based on the style of how the songs are actually done. And I know this is probably the longest review I've probably done. I didn't mean it to be this long, but I wanted to go through each track for you based on the notes that I had, instead of just sitting there telling you, this is a 10 out of 10. I wanted to sit there and tell you, like, you know, like, this song was good, this song was that, but I had to really go in and let you feel what I'm feeling with this. If you've not seen the album or you've not heard the album, then I want to be expressed to you. This is something that of weight that blesses me. The album continues to play through repeat. It's not one of those like albums I'm just like I'll play once in a while. Like nah, I actually will play this over and over again. I got this on iTunes. You can get it from Google Play. You can get it from Amazon. You can probably purchase the album from Lifeway or somewhere else like Walmart. I highly recommend you check this album out. There were some tracks, again, like I said, that kind of like didn't fit to me the way that they cross-blended, like Facts. There was one, like I said, the eerie tone, but that actually worked out and elevated to the rest, because like, even though there's one part that I kind of didn't like or didn't understand, or like, all right, why would you talk about your wife or your kid and then talk about like somebody else? I understand it because this is what he wanted to do. This is his expression as an artist of how he wanted to paint the picture. A lot of times we look at a picture, it doesn't necessarily mean that the picture is distorted or wrong. It's just the way the artist, perceives what he's feeling. And I felt like Lecrae just pushed out all his feelings all out there, but at the same time kept him grounded enough to talk about his faith and his reality as a progression of an artist. And I think that's why, to me, I give this album a 10 out of 10. Like, I don't really have any other faults in it other than certain nitpicky things. So hopefully y'all enjoyed this review. If you want, all right, if I want to be nitpicky, I still wouldn't give it nothing but a 9.5 out of 10. So either way, keep it locked. JVS, we ain't gonna stop. Definitely check out my reaction to Croc For You, and I'll have some more reviews a bit later on. I gotta get some food, and I gotta help my brother move some stuff. Peace, everybody. Stay blessed.